and it says Fox N Forest, not Fox in Forest, but that's the actual title of the game. This is actually a retro-styled platformer, very reminiscent of the SNES era, and so definitely a love letter to games of that period, the SNES platformers. I'll tell you right now, it very much reminds me of the game Hook. If you ever played the game Hook, it's a bit of that feel to it. Gameplay-wise, I mean, different, because you don't fly, you're not Peter Pan, obviously, but in this case, you play it as a fox who is a greedy treasure hunter, basically. And you're trying to go through these different parts of the forest, different season areas. So you have areas for spring, summer, fall, and winter that you go through respectively in that order. And you go through like 2 levels, a boss, and if you gather all the seeds in that particular area, there's also an additional bonus level. Let's go ahead and get into the game. I'll give you some gameplay. Now, I've completed the game, and I'll be showing you my completed gameplay footage. Just kind of give you an idea of the entire game. No spoilers here. I won't give away any story. I will just kind of show you a few things and also give you my opinion, my overall opinion of this game. So not a very long video, but we will be doing that. So let's go over here, bring the game back up real quick, and here we go. Fox and Forests. The music in here is actually pretty decent. This intro music is actually a little more hype than I expected, but it's actually pretty cool. And this fox right here is your main character. Pixel art, beautiful. Honestly, it very SNES looking. I would expect something like this to be on the SNES. In fact, even music-wise, it sounds very SNES. It very much sounds that way. So let's go ahead and get into the game here. And I will load my completed gameplay. Start. There are some bonuses that you can view if you 100% the game. I have 100% of the game. I got all the items in the game. I will tell you, it is difficult. You'll really have to look. You might actually need a guide to find all the items. That is very possible. So be prepared that you may have to go for a guide. I encourage you to try to find them on your own first. But some, it's like you may need a guide to actually find them. But it requires you to really thoroughly search. And I mean thoroughly search. Really get out there and search and try to find these different items. So get into the game. Not delete. Continue. Thank you. The game does autosave. So that is a nice feature. You don't have to worry about saving your game. It actually will autosave after each level section. So say it has this like main hub where you start, and you have the season tree that you talk to, and you're on this quest to actually find the pieces of magical bark for the season tree that have been stolen from him. And you have different various boss fights you have to do. So each level, like this is the spring area, down would be summer, and then over here is fall, and then up top here is winter. And to give you an idea, I'll play a bit of the first level here just for you. And this is kind of what you expect with gameplay. You do have a double jump to start. The way this controls too is it's very intentional control. Now I'll show you right now what you have for attack. You have this arrow. Now you also can duck, and he does like a slash attack with the bayonet on the arrow, on the crossbow. So the crossbow has a bayonet to it, which is kind of interesting, kind of cool. And then when you jump, you have also another bayonet attack. Now mine's actually powered up, that's why you see it colored like that. It has that kind of reddish orange. So I've actually have it fully upgraded. And then initially, when you double jump, you can't attack. You do eventually buy upgrades, and I can go to the World Hub after this. And as you complete each level, you will get upgrades for your arrows. So after you complete spring, you get the green upgrade, which gives you like a 3-shot. It goes forward, up at an angle, and up at more of an angle. So that's good for flying enemies and reaching those. You also have a fiery shot, which is a straightforward fire shot. It just gives you a rapid shot and a bit more power behind the attack itself. And then you do have a boomerang arrow that kind of just allows you to kind of boomerang and hit enemies, and this one actually, unlike the other ones, will go through the level platforms, including these solid main ground ones that your other arrows get stopped by. If you notice, boom, they get stopped. That boomerang will go through, and it's very helpful for hitting various targets that unlock new areas. Of course, flying enemies, they do drop money. The money is used for upgrading, for buying items you can do, because you have these bottles right here. The only thing that I didn't get was the last bottle, because it was just too much of a pain to try to get. And you might be able to get it on your, if you try it. It's not very hard to find. It's just really much of a pain to try to get to the chest for that bottle. Biggest feature of this also, that blue bar on the top. Now that is fully upgraded. When you start, it won't be that full. It'll be maybe about half that full. But at least with the Xbox controller, the right and left trigger, either one will change seasons. And you only have like 2 options. Like each area has like 2 seasons to change between. So in this case, spring and winter. Of course, the next spring level is spring and fall that you change between. You also have these chests you want to try to find, which the chests sometimes have items in it that you need to collect. Sometimes they have, a lot of times they have money in them as well. Sometimes you'll find a ghost, and the ghost tries to attack you. So be very careful on that. Now this bird is, at least in the beginning level, and like I mentioned, you have these targets, you hit them, and it unlocks platforms to get to areas you couldn't get to before. Basically, it's kind of just clues you in, and these tutorial things that they have will actually tell you more about the game and tell you exactly what you need to know about them. So that's kind of cool. That is kind of neat. There you go. Kill him. So go to my fire arrow, because that's actually pretty helpful in this case. But yeah, it's very integral to change between seasons, not just for moving forward, but also for finding certain items too. But if I go like here, boop, and then it puts the bees to sleep because it's wintertime, so I can pass through, otherwise the bees would hurt me. Good variety of enemies. You get some flying enemies that will actually shoot projectiles at you at a certain point, which definitely makes it more interesting. Like I said, you eventually get a double jump attack, so if you do double jump, boom. Control-wise, like I said, it has a very stiff kind of feel to it, but not too stiff, not so much that it makes it unpleasant to play. So keep that in mind. Again, very intentional controls. I mean, it controls very fluid. Like you have that midair kind of redirection with the jump, so you're not stuck in that direction jumping. You can be, oh no, like, oh, back up. So there is a bit of midair control, not a huge amount, but you can. And get away. You also have these checkpoints. Now, the one thing with checkpoints, I will tell you, you have Retro the Badger, which is very hilarious that you have Retro. It's a very retro style game, and it's Retro the Badger. So he says, "Hi, I'm Retro the Badger. I love old games and helping out new heroes. My useful checkpoints are like a link to the past." Again, nods to the SNES era, nods to all of that. Just talk to me further down the road, and I will name my price. I need that money to expand my collection of retro games. As this first one, he goes through his whole dialogue. After this, he just asks you if you want to save the game. So it's actually kind of cool. You don't have to go through that whole dialogue each time. And I will tell you, in later levels, as you go through the level, the price to upgrade, save your game at the checkpoints actually increases each time. So you will have to pay more as you go. But you also need that money for upgrades. So you judge whether you think you can actually get further without using the save checkpoint, or if you can, use it and get, still manage to save if you feel like the level's getting that hard, because the levels do get more difficult as you go. This is actually the easiest of the levels here. I'm not going to use the checkpoint. At the end of the level, you'll actually have that bird on a seesaw. And your objective is to basically try to hit the seesaw with as much force as possible. You do get kind of scored on that. But yeah, with the jump, there is no there is no like shoot and jump. It's basically you have to be standing. You can like be moving and then jump, you know, shoot. Here's another feature here I'll show you real quick. With these eels, you can actually change to ice, and they hit the ice, and it takes care of them. So you can either try to shoot them, then you know, hit the flowers. You can find some power-ups or some stuff to like refill health to give you more magic for changing seasons. Those blue crystals give you magic for changing seasons. Then I'll go back to the world map. I'll show you one more additional level, because most of these are platforming levels, very similar. And you see at the bottom left here, you've got the seed, a crystal, and a grindstone. There's almost always 5 seeds, 1 crystal, 2 grindstones. Almost always. Every level, you can see I've gone through, and I have collected all of them. Now I will show you the exception is there are at least a couple of levels, I think at least 2 levels. Like this one only has 5 seeds because it's not a platformer, it is a flying shooter. I'll show you this one real quick also, give you an idea. I won't play through the whole thing. And you can use the magic arrows here, but and change seasons, and the season change will be necessary to get through. Also with hearts, you start out with only, I think like 3 hearts maybe, 3 or 4 hearts. But you upgrade, and you get more hearts as you go. And then changing seasons will allow you to use like this pillar of fire here. If I change seasons, it's now rainy season. And during rainy season, those clouds are electric, so they become a hazard, but the flame no longer becomes a hazard. And in these flying sections, no matter how much health upgrade you have, oh yeah, and you can also get hit checkpoints here without paying money, which is very nice, because these can be very challenging. But yeah, it's like, bam, do that, get through. But you're only 1 hit on these. No matter how much health you have, you're only 1 hit. So you have to keep that in mind, that it makes it even more challenging, but these checkpoints are very handy. So let's go back to the world map. Each level is structured as far as like 2 sections, a boss fight here, and you have the bonus level. And the boss fight, you're basically using all that you've learned. Now, when you beat the game, if you get all the seeds, you actually unlock being able to fight all the bosses again. You have deadline between you and the boss, so it's like, okay, blah blah. Oh. There's like certain ways you have to hit the boss. I don't remember how to do this one exactly. And I have to hit him when his mouth is open. It's an electric frog too. You gotta hit him when that mouth is open here. And it's the only way to hit him. Each boss has a certain way to damage the boss. There's one boss fight that's actually just outrun the boss. You don't attack them, you just outrun them, which is kind of neat. That one's pretty much just avoid the frog, I guess. And if you die at the boss, there is the option where it gives you a hint. It kind of clues you in as far as how to beat it. Now you can also refuse the hint. It's not mandatory. So it asks you, do you want a hint? You can say no, and it won't give you the hint. But it definitely will give you the hint. I will tell you, I'll show you this real first before I tell you. There is one glitch in the game I found that was kind of annoying. I was able to get past it finally, but it did actually happen. We have this magic shop right here. And then you have the upgrade booth where you can upgrade health and your magic, but you do need magic crystals for the health. And then you do have the armory, which you can upgrade your attacks, essentially. Both your main bayonet attack and also learning new like jump attacks and various things. So yeah, you do have upgrades and it does cost money, and also you need to have so many of the magic crystal for the magic upgrades and so many of the grindstone for the weapon upgrades. And this you can buy potions to fill your bottles to cast various magic spells in the battle. Now I'm not going to tell you the story, I will leave that for you to find out. It is kind of humorous. Let's see if I can show you which level it was. I believe, if I'm not mistaken, I think it was this one here. Yeah, Leaky Lake, and that is this one I found. Like, this is actually one of the more annoying levels. And this one you have to like change between, I think it's like spring or summer and winter. At one point we have to keep going back and forth. And it got really annoying because I actually ended up locking my character in place. So definitely be careful on that. Like, it got to the point where he would only move during certain seasons, and then eventually I couldn't get him to move at all. Like, he actually got stuck in place by because at one point where you had to like kind of navigate under the water, but you got to like change seasons back and forth to spare your magic, and at the same time you have to not drown, because if you're in the water for too long, in the water part under the ice, you will start taking damage from drowning. And I got stuck going back and forth. So a slight glitch, and it was really more because I was trying to get one of the items. It didn't affect so much beating the section. It was more that it affected me trying to get all the items. So keep that in mind. It's not a perfect game. There is potential for a glitch to kind of be really annoying, but that is pretty much the gist of the game. Not a very long game, although if you are going to go and get all the items, like I said, you will take some time searching and looking, but you can do it. And there is a guide available, I believe, on Steam. If you do need a guide to find all the items, you can find one. So with that in mind, all that in mind, my verdict, I'm not going to give it like a grade. I'm not going to give it like so much out of 10. If I had to, like maybe I'd say like like 8 or 9. But honestly, my verdict is definitely worth playing. If you like a retro platformer, a retro game that's very reminiscent and very much a throwback to the SNES era of gaming, then I would say yes, absolutely buy this, play it for yourself. Just be warned, it does get challenging. It is a challenging game. It has that SNES difficulty completely. And the bosses are less about just hitting as much as you can, and more about strategy and using your abilities to their biggest potential. So definitely play this game, worth it in my opinion. And that is all I really have to say about this game. So I do appreciate everyone for being here. I do appreciate all of you for watching. Also check out my other videos too, other playthroughs. I will be live hopefully, I think tomorrow, at least tomorrow after this is uploaded here. But definitely will be live tomorrow with some more Far Cry Primal. Do check that out. They also have other videos I've been playing. I recently played Kalina Legacy, great horror game. If you're looking for a horror game, I mean, not the absolute best horror game, but it's still a decent horror game, decent indie title worth playing. But definitely thank you very much. Everyone stay awesome, stay safe, and we will see you in the next video. And until then, take care, and you're all amazing.